Well, it's the largest interest rate hike since 1994.
The Federal Reserve announced yesterday it is raising interest rates by 3/4 of a point.
It's an effort to fight stubbornly high inflation, but what'll it mean for you? Moses Altsech from the UW-Madison School of Business is back with us. Welcome.
Hi, Moses. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Just looking at those Wall Street numbers, it gives people shudders if they have a 401k.
That's why I don't look at it every day, that's for sure. It's bad for my mental health. But it's not unexpected, right? And this rate hike is definitely not unexpected. People saw it coming. Given the inflation numbers, there's really no choice that the Fed had.
It seems a little counterintuitive. So can you explain why making things more expensive actually helps fight inflation?
Well, the idea is that when prices go up, demand retracts a little bit, right? So people spend a little less and things stabilize because when demand drops, then prices go, they can't be as high as they used to be.
So people will buy less.
People will buy less. That's exactly right. So that's what the Fed is trying to do. Of course, what they're trying to do is balance increasing interest rates so people spend a little less, but trying to keep the economy from going into a recession.
That's the balancing act.
It's quite a balancing act, and the truth is that the markets are reacting the way they're reacting. On one hand, you saw yesterday the markets reacted positively because they thought, wow, the Fed is finally being aggressive when it comes to inflation. But there are also concerns about a recession, and it's not uncommon for really large interest rate hikes to lead to a recession. So
this is going to mean more expensive car loans, mortgages?
For some people. The car loans for sure, but the difference that it would make in your monthly payment would be very, very small. For people who already have a fixed rate mortgage, no effect at all, because it's fixed, so you don't have anything to worry about. For someone who is planning to buy a house, on the other hand, that's a different story. Or for people with a variable rate mortgage, they're going to definitely feel the effect. And you see that the housing market is starting to cool off as a result.
Why do they want to cool off the housing market?
Well, you see what happens to real estate prices. I mean, there were bidding wars on homes, and things were a little out of hand. So the idea is when the cost of borrowing goes up, again, demand goes down a little bit and things cool off. And they're hoping that the same is going to apply to an awful lot of things when it comes to people having less money and spending less money and inflation dropping as a result of the decrease in demand.
And a lot of people have less money because of gas prices. Is this going to turn around?
It is going to turn around. The loan that I took, notwithstanding, to pay for my drive to the studio today.
I filled up today too.
It's going to turn around. It's interesting because gas prices are at a really high level, and yet demand for gas, say during Memorial Day weekend, did not drop at all. Everybody was filling up and driving places. So when the summer season is usually pretty high demand, but summer's going to pass and demand is going to start decreasing. If we have good news on the war front in Ukraine, or if we give some time to both the United States and our allies to increase production, that's also going to help drive the price of gas a little lower too. So I'm optimistic that in a few months things are going to.
A lot of people are blaming the oil companies for gouging.
Well, the president mentioned that the oil companies and the refineries really sort of need to, check their profits a little bit. Maybe they're making, a little too much. But I think that's also driven by the uncertainty, right? You don't know what's going to happen with the war. And that the hurricane season that may disrupt refineries. So a lot of that is psychological, just like the consumer price index and consumer confidence sort of affects consumer spending and savings habits and so on. So I really think, though, that if the war certainly does not get out of hand and escalate further, the news for gas prices are going to be better in a few months, certainly after the summer is gone.
But this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? This
That's absolutely right.
Correct itself quickly.
If you're thinking that you're going to see gas prices drop overnight, it's definitely not going to happen. Not unless the gas tax is suspended or something like that. That may shave off 50 cents if it's both the federal and the state tax. But unless that happens, we're going to have to deal with that for a little while longer. We're still better off than a lot of countries, by the way, that have seen really huge spikes in gas prices. There are European countries that are not in the war zone that have gas prices in $7, $8, $10 a gallon. So in comparison, we're better off. Not that this is a small problem. So bide your time. Things are going to improve. I'm optimistic, at least.
That's good to hear.
Interesting months ahead. We'll have you back soon. We'll pay for gas.
Good to see you, Moses.
That sounds like a deal. Take care.